Growing up, I was bombarded by images of beauty. And all of those images on TV and in the magazines and in the books that I read, they looked nothing like me. They all had the same types of women with the same skin complexion, same hair texture, and same body type. But it didn't stop there. So at a young age, I began to create a beauty standard that didn't even include girls like me. It looked nothing like me. And so my beauty standard that I set were white women, long, flowing, silky hair. The kids I went to school with, my teachers, the administrators, the librarian, majority of the people I was surrounded by looked more like the women on TV than I actually did. So which could only mean to a young, underdeveloped mind that the true meaning of beauty was being white and having flowing hair, being skinny. The commercial that stood out to me the most as a young girl was the Pantene Pro V commercial. And so I embarrassingly admit, every time I watched that commercial, I would go upstairs, put a towel on my hair, and sway my hair from side to side, because I wanted to look like that girl on TV. And I'll never forget the day, I was in either kindergarten or grade 1, and so my sister jokes about this all the time. I asked her, are we gonna wash our hair today with the Pantene Pro V products? And she said, yes, Tabia. So we used the shampoo, we used the conditioner. She shampooed and conditioned my hair, and before she could even properly dry my hair, I ran into the washroom, took off the towel, stared in the mirror, and instantly broke down into tears. And my sister said to me, Tabia, why are you crying? I explained, you didn't make me look like the girl on TV. My hair's not silky, it's not shiny. And she laughed and said, are you serious? I said, you promised that we would wash my hair, and I, in my mind, thought I would look just like that woman on TV. I was gonna go to school Monday morning and look just like my peers and the students and the teachers. However, I instantly had to figure out that I was different and that was okay. And my sister said, Tabby, your hair is beautiful. You have curly, thick hair, and it's an afro. That's lovely. And so that was very short-lived. You see, I was fortunate enough to grow up in an environment that was positive. I had amazing mentors, amazing examples who were my parents, my sisters, my brothers, my aunts, my uncles, and who constantly reinforced to me that you're beautiful, you're special, you're different, and that's okay. They set extremely high standards for me. So at a young age, I was constantly trying to accomplish, constantly trying to achieve, and I was confident with myself. I went into spaces and I loved my dark skin. I loved my natural hair. I loved the natural styles that we wear with braids. However, that's not the case for many young Black women and men. You see, many of them go into life feeling insecure, unloved, having resentment towards others and to themselves, having low self-confidence and low self-expectations. The most detrimental one of them all is self-hate. And when you're constantly not seeing yourself being represented, you begin to wonder, can I do that? Can I become a teacher? Can I be a model? Can I be an actress? And now you want to look like other people who aren't you. There was a study done in 2012. It looked at the relationship between representation on TV and the impact that it had on young children. So in a study of about 400 Black and white girls and boys, they concluded the only demographic that didn't experience low self-esteem after watching TV were young white boys. And the study also highlighted, some of the stereotypes that we see on TV. Black males, criminals, aggressive, violent. Black women as sexually available, exotic, bitter, single moms. White women as innocent, the victims, super moms. But when it came to white male characters, They were quite positive in nature. They were innovators, millionaires, business owners, advantaged. So there's no surprise why when young white boys watch TV, they feel like they can do anything. They're invincible. They're powerful. Another study done in 2017 looked at over 800 local and national news and opinion stories. They also concluded that more times than not, Black families are depicted as poor and dependent on welfare. And this is despite the fact that white families benefit more from welfare than any other groups and races. They also show Black men and fathers as being absentees and over-exaggerated the link between Black families and criminality. On the other hand, white families are seen as healthy and socially stable. And so this is funny to me because the way that I grew up with a father. My parents have been married 49 years. It'll be 50 years next year. Amazing, right? And my father, I seen him every night and every morning when I woke up. And he worked sometimes 7 days a week, but never missed a soccer tournament, never missed a volleyball game, never missed interviews, would come home, do homework with me until I finished. Sometimes I would go to sleep and he would finish my homework for me. So it's a surprise I'm still smart, but so when I see these examples on TV, I know it happens, and it happens in every race, but not any more in Black families than it does in white or Asian. The people around me, my friends, my cousins, we all had fathers who weren't absent and were very active in our lives. According to that same study, Black families represent 59% of the poor in media, but make up only 27% of the poor across the country. On the other hand, for white families, they represent only 17% of the poor in media. And during that time, when the study was done, made up 66% of the poor across the country. So there's a discrepancy there, right? Does this look familiar? Typically, this is what we see in media when we see Black people as criminals, gangsters, the help, slaves. And don't get me started on reality TV, which is the worst depiction of Black women especially. Always fighting, violent, and that is not the case for most Black women. We do have a sisterhood. And although we are praised for being athletic and having amazing musical talents, we're more than just that. We're more than music. We're more than athletes. We're more than what you see on the media. And every couple of years, they come up with an amazing movie about slavery, right? And although slavery it's important to be educated on slavery and what happened to Black people and what they dealt with for hundreds of years, I promise you this much, our history does not begin with slavery, not at all. Our history begins in Africa, where we ruled dynasties and empires. We were kings and queens, but they don't talk much about that, you know? We're innovators, we're billionaires, we're business owners, we're inventors. So many things that we didn't learn when we were in school. We invented the ironing board. We invented the 3-signal traffic lights. We invented the first electrical dryer. We invented the ice cream scoop, as well as the first refrigerated truck that transported blood and medicine and food throughout the war. We're authors, we're historians, we're poets, we're activists, educators, influential leaders. And so I know I've talked a lot about what the media is not doing, but I will say we are moving little by little in the right direction. We are seeing Black women grace the covers of magazines and get amazing roles in movies. However, sometimes it's a bit interesting that some of the black women on the magazines have straight hair. So it's almost as if they're putting black women on magazines, but we still have to mimic what the white models look like. But I will say, we're moving in the right direction. And so maybe one day, they will be comfortable enough for us to wear our braids on magazines and to rock our natural afros. And we can celebrate who we are, because we weren't born with straight hair, most of us. We're born with kinky curls and thick naps that are beautiful. I am a firm believer that if we're going to talk about problems and challenges, that there must be an action plan and a resolve for the issues at hand. As you know, it takes a village to raise people. It takes a system. And I always say it starts with the family, media, the school board, and the workforce. With the family, it's important that we're buying our children black dolls so they can see themselves represented. We're buying them black books. We're teaching them about their history and where they come from. And we're reminding them that they are beautiful. They are black, they are beautiful, and their differences make them unique. Within the school board, you see, what's happening is we often have a board filled with white members. I currently work in a school right now, and it's an expulsion program. 95% of the students in this expulsion program are black and minorities. But there's no black or minority teachers. And I'm literally the only black person that they see in that school. And no matter how amazing you are as a psychologist, as a social worker, as a teacher, it's hard to sometimes connect on a level with these students if you have nothing in common with them. And so the school board needs to do a better job of hiring more minorities, hiring more black women, men and women that can connect on a level with these students. And I promise you, it will be a totally different aspect. Within media, let's have more representation. Let's have more black families. Let's show black families in a positive light. Within the workforce, as opposed to having just one or two positions, we're literally fighting for positions and fighting and competing with each other for one or two roles of power in senior management, which is unfair. We deserve to be up there too. We're just as educated. And so I just want to make sure that you guys understand that the issue here at hand is not about black people being represented, because we are, but we need to show representation in a positive light. And we are making baby steps, I will say that, but we can do way better. Let's do better, because not just black children, but white children and other minorities deserve for them to see equality, for us to be in a world where we have equal opportunities. And so, as I mentioned, we are heading in the right direction. Let's work together to make it work and to show and portray black people and minorities in a positive light. Thank you so much for your time, everybody.